What up, guys? Reformed Stoic here, back with another video. Um, this is an important message. I know in my last video I said that was probably the last video I was going to make for a while, but I was high literally in that video. And that's actually relevant to this video. I'm sitting here with my cats. Here's the crinkler. There's the rug dug. She's cleaning up her chin. So I had a pinched nerve like for a long time, and life. My new life has been all right. It's had its ups and downs. Nothing too serious though. Like things have been like pretty all right since I moved here. But I got a pinched nerve, and then some people visited, which was a little less than pleasant, partially because I had the pinched nerve and I wasn't working out for the first week. That was the first week that I decided to take off from the gym. Then they left, and then I realized I still needed to take more time off from the gym, and I was frustrated with that. So I decided to cop a tiny bit of weed, allegedly. Very small amount, because I hadn't smoked in a year and a half. It had been a big deal. I was maybe thinking I was going to be quiet about it and not say anything. There's trolls online who were like, "Oh, we got to get Stoic to smoke again." So I kind of wanted to be discreet about it. But the thinking was, it was kind of a cope. I Googled what anti-inflammatory effects of weed. So I thought, oh, LMAO, hey, maybe it will help with my pinched nerve. And it was like 50-50. It's like part of me actually believes that, and part of me is like, I don't know, but I'm frustrated, and I'm going to use this as an excuse to smoke weed. But it might have even actually worked, because here I am, like, I'm trying to remember when this started. I think it was on Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, like 5 days. So for 5 days straight, I blazed up. I eventually went back to the gym. But I just wanted to reflect on how that went in this video. And I thought maybe it would be a better idea to wait until I'm kind of like back where I was mentally. But I think it's best to just do it right now while the feeling is fresh. I think weed can be a very negative thing for some people. And what I just experienced these 5 days smoking again was like ultimately kind of negative. The first couple of days were probably the best. And then I remember like the morning of day 3, I felt depressed, irritated that morning. And then I smoke later in the day, and it was a little bit less satisfying. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different strains and different kinds of highs you can get, but this particular one definitely was kind of like probably more of an indica high. It just really made me hungry. I just ate a lot, lazy. It cleared my mind. It kind of made me think about like the Zen state that I've been talking about from studying Eastern stuff, but not in a good way. I haven't done any reading. I pretty much dropped all of my spiritual practice immediately. I was trying all these things like Kriya yoga and different kinds of Qigong and stance practice. And I had come up with like a pretty intricate daily routine of breathing exercises, and I basically just stopped all of them. And I just wanted to make this video to say, guys, like, obviously there's moments for me, like I did a stream earlier where I was kind of bummed out, and I just was saying everything's cope, and it's like, oh, what's the point? Like, the black pill defeats everything. And the thing is, guys, if it makes you feel better, it's not cope. If it makes you feel better, it's not cope. I don't know the spiritual truth behind breathing exercises and yoga. It was more so that I decided that it's not evil. I don't think, doing some sort of an asana, sitting on your knees, the hero pose, or whatever kind of yoga poses you do. It's like, oh, you can't do that because that was designed to venerate Shiva and it's a pagan god and you're basically worshiping a pagan god and interfacing with demons. And I got to a point where it's not that I decided like, oh, the Hindu gods are the truth. I just decided that it's not evil to do yoga. And it's a shame when you think that way, because the way I started to see it was like, oh man, well, it's a shame because like a plank, when you do a plank, that's not venerating a pagan god. But then all of a sudden you put your butt up in the air, now you're doing downward dog, and oh my gosh, now it's a big deal. And then you just have to start picking it apart. It's like, okay, well, this is like the square, this is like the horse stance, which is like a leg exercise. Oh, and then now this is the whatever pose, and it's venerating a god. I mean, I feel like you have to start picking things, and there's probably things that over time became like regular American exercises, but they're probably based off of yoga, and it's just silly, man. But I don't want to go off into a big tangent about that. But yeah, a lot of what my view has changed on Christianity is I just don't let like a Christian fear stop me from doing things that I feel like I know are helpful. I feel like I know these breathing exercises are helpful. I know that yoga can be helpful, and qigong and traditional Chinese medicine. But I just wanted to make this video to say, guys, like, that stuff was like making a big difference for me. Like, I guess what I can take out of this week is I randomly started smoking. I stopped doing like everything. It was fun to play drums. It's always fun to play drums high, but I don't need it for that. I can still play drums without it just fine. Doesn't make me better. It maybe makes me think I'm better sometimes, but it's not necessary. So that's pretty much it. Like, and I don't think I'm going to have a hard time at all. It was a little bit of a scary feeling. It's like, oh, is this it? Like, are you going to, because, I'm a little bit bummed out, and you get a little bit of a temptation. It's like, oh, well, what will make you not feel bummed out is getting more weed and starting the whole process over. But that's what made me like really feel this fear, or not fear, but it's like, wow, there's people who get stuck in that, or I was stuck in that. Because I saw this process of how the weed is basically like giving you dopamine, and then after a couple of days, you're really depressed, and then you feel like you need it, and then it doesn't really help, and it was a negative thing, dude. Like, I just experienced something negative with weed, and I don't want to act like my experience is like that for everyone, but probably a lot of smokers. I mean, I know this is a thing, dude. Maybe somebody listening to this, you were in that process where it's like you were normal and then you smoked, and then after 3 days, it's like, oh, my happy chemicals are way down, and now I'm trying to compensate with weed, and now I'm smoking more weed, and you're doing this weird shit with your brain chemistry, bro, and eventually it just flattens out. Eventually your body's like, okay, he just smokes this stuff all the time, so let's just level out and get used to it, and eventually it kind of levels out. But it's a negative thing, bro, and I feel like it was sucking me in to where it's like, oh, keep smoking until you level out because now you need it, and it just wasn't a positive thing, man. The way it killed my drive and killed my thoughts, not in a good way. Like, there's no shortcut, bro. You need to kill your thoughts by having control. Like, you want to be able to think. You want to have access to your natural thought processes, but it's not, oh, dude, I get high and now I'm one with the universe. Like, no, it was a negative thing. It shut me down. It shut my mind down. And there's not anything to be sad about. Like, I did what I set out to do. It's like, hey, I have a pinched nerve. Right now, this is bothering me because I want to lift weights and I want to be better. I'm loving lifting. And so you can almost say I did the right thing, because I feel like maybe it did help with the inflammation. It helped me at least relax and like not worry so much about taking time off from lifting weights. But I just wanted to make this video to tell you guys, I was thinking about covering it up, but I actually think this is important content for my channel. Like, the little things, guys, the breathing exercises, whatever it is you're doing to keep moving forward. And a lot of people around here, myself included, we're these guys that, maybe kind of fell out of society and didn't really get where you wanted to go. There's some lack in your life. There's some regret, some suffering. Sometimes it's all going to feel like cope. Like you're going to have a day where it's like, ooh, breathing exercises and Kira yoga and prayers and meditation and lighting candles for Jesus. It doesn't matter. It's all cope. But it's not, bro. If it makes you feel better, it's not cope. I had some kind of eerie nighttime experiences. Like, I feel like, because I've been saying a lot of stuff lately, like, oh, actually this, actually that, actually I don't go to church and I do yoga and blah, 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 blah. Weed was crossing the line. Weed felt disrespectful. It felt like it was pushing me away from God. I'm confident in the message that I've been sharing in this channel. I believe in this message. It's not just cope, man. And when it seems like my view is changing a lot, I don't want people to think like I'm just on one and I'm not guiding what I believe with logic and reason and like thinking what I believe. And everything was like consistent until the weed came into the picture. I felt like I had some experiences at night. I just had some feelings that led me to believe like, hey man, like you've been pretty good with God. Like you do your prayers, you pray the rosary, and you're trying to better yourself in all these ways, and you've been good with God. But now you're kind of on some murky waters where it's like, what are you doing, man? Like you made a serious decision to quit this. You've been patting yourself on the back. And now, like, we're going full circle. And my beliefs were, like, kind of starting to reflect that. It was making me just not think anything matters or not care about anything. And I really didn't like where it was taking me, man. And I can pretty confidently say that, like, I'm not going to slide back into that. And it makes me, like, feel this fear to think there are some people who could be like where I'm at, where I've been off of it for a year and a half. And then you just smoke for 5 days. And then, I was a little grumpy today, a little bit depressed. But I'm going to ride it out. And I'm not going to get any more. And probably by Monday or Tuesday or, a few days from now, a week tops, probably not that long, it will be like it never happened. I'll go right back into my old routine. Because that's what happens when you haven't smoked weed for a year and a half, That's what happens. Like, it was a little playing with fire, going back to it, but there's nothing to go back to, is what I figured out, guys. Like, assuming I don't get any more pinched nerves, knock on wood, somebody knock on wood for your bro. There's no reason that I'm going to do that again. And it scared me, man. Like, I lost a lot of my discipline. I stopped caring about like anything, and I felt for the first time in quite some time like I was really kind of drifting away from God. Like I was just not living my faith anymore. And I know I've made a lot of dramatic changes, not going to church, telling people that maybe I don't see eye to eye with Christians on hell, or maybe I don't even see eye to eye with regular Christianity, but I believe in that message. I think my heart's in the right place on that message. But when I started to smoke that weed again for 5 days, and just, it felt disrespectful. It felt like I was drifting away from God. It felt like I was losing anything that meant anything to me. And it was taking me to a place where I could get sucked into the black pill just like anybody else, bro. All these things that I do, the breathing, the working out, you might call it cope. It's like, oh, you wake up, before your coffee, you do your little stretches and your little qigong. That doesn't mean anything. That's cope, man. I was feeling it. Every morning I do my 8 stances for like a minute each. It's like a good leg workout. I don't do it on leg day. That's actually why I didn't do it today, because it was leg day. Today would have been the first day I started doing it again. And then I do my silk weavers qigong exercise, and then I drink my coffee, go to the gym, come back, play drums, pray my rosary outside with the cats. And I still kept praying the rosary every day. I'm really adamant about praying the rosary every day. Like, that's really a staple for me at this point. But all that stuff, you guys, like, I'm making this video because I really noticed when it was gone. When I just, at the drop of a hat, threw my routine out the window. It's like when I'm in the thick of my routine, sometimes life can feel a little bit bittersweet. Sometimes things are a little bit lacking. I still feel like, it's like, man, what's wrong? Like, I had a good workout today. It's some good food. Everything's okay. Love my place and my cats. There's just something missing a little bit, but I'm overall like pretty close to being level. The weed took my foundations out from under me and made me start getting a momentum of wasting time. And it removed me from my spiritual practice, which was becoming important to me. And it made me realize, like, how much armor that I had. Like, how much armor and security. And, my life is kind of screwed up. So, in the thick of it, when I'm a little less than, like, perfect or just regular, it's like, there's, like, happy, regular, and then not good. And I'm like, maybe a little extra chipper or a little subpar, but I'm pretty level, dude. I'm able to like be okay. I'm able to be okay. No drugs, no medication, no nothing. Just me living my life, man. So I don't want to ramble too much more about it, but the little things, guys, whatever your particular copes are, cold showers, cold baths, morning walk, whatever your prayer routine is, I support it. Maybe you do some sort of prayer practice that I'm not into, but the little things, your little self-help stuff, maybe you say your affirmations to yourself in the mirror. I picture somebody picking up a joint and be like, oh, fuck it anyway, dude. Like, it's just stupid affirmations. It's not like it's gonna make my life better. It's like, nah, dude, fuck that. The weed is the cope. The weed is the cope, dude. The weed that's making you think, oh, fuck the breathing exercises, Hindu, that's all bullshit, man. It's just a bunch of bullshit, dude. It doesn't matter anyway, dude. It's all cope. Like, bro, I got a little taste of it. I got a little taste of what I left behind. I don't want to be super judgmental. I know weed is different for other people. If you're like 10 years deep into smoking weed, it's probably just a waste of money at that point. At that point, it's probably just a waste of money. But some people, it hits people differently, dude. Some people are super sensitive, and the way that I'm wired is weird, dude, to where I'm super sensitive, and I kind of think weed was always a negative thing for me. And it's, like I said, I keep wanting to say scary because it's a negative thing for me, and it's addictive. It's like something that sucked me in that's not good for me. That's harder for me to leave the longer it's a part of my life. And yeah, I saw how it can lead to irritability. The stereotype is that weed is making you happy, but it gets to a point where every time like you wake up the next morning, you have this kind of like weed hangover where you're just grumpy. And you don't really get better when you get high. Like, once that grumpiness starts to sink in, you're doing this weird seesaw with your chemicals. And it's a no for me, dog. Like, whoever you are out there, you probably don't need weed. You could probably get off of it. You'd probably start feeling better off of it. And for me, I've said this many times on stream, every time I quit weed, there was a few times, like 9 months, a year, a little bit over a year. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like anything's really changed. And then I get curious and I try smoking weed again. And then I kind of just rediscover weed all over again. But this time around, it was like, nah, man, I know there is, like, I had better times before, but I think this is like the most successful experience I've ever had quitting weed. Like, I filled my life up with a lot of positive things, And I was just seeing how weed was just shutting everything down. And it's like, bro, there's the thought that you could potentially start doing this every day again is scary. For me, it was scary. And like I said, I'm going in circles. I'm sure I'd adapt. Eventually, I'd learn to cope. But the natural state that I would have to adapt to, the way that it was, is like, shuts me down. I don't want to do anything. Watch TV. Sometimes I wouldn't even be able to like start the next episode of the show, and I'd just be fucking zonked out. No music, no TV, just sitting in silence. And not like in a meditative way, in like a your brain is like rotting way, and there's just kind of like this looming negativity, like, well, I'm sitting here doing fucking nothing, I'm high. Like, it was negative, man. So the purpose of this video is like people out there who maybe as a result of my channel, I don't know how many lives I've really touched on this channel. I know there's like a couple of people who it kind of sounds like I maybe got some people to quit smoking. The people out there who, regardless of whether or not it's from my channel or other self-help channels, like you quit weed and you quit drinking and you're doing your little whatever the hell you're doing, dude. Maybe you do like an aerobics class with old grandmas in the pool or something every morning. I don't know. Whatever it is, dude, I know there's moments in life where it's like, man, why do I fucking drive to that pool and like do water aerobics with grandmas, man? That's bullshit. It's not going to do anything. That's not going to make me taller. That's not going to make women like me. Fuck all this shit, dude. Like, no, dude. Don't do that. The cope is that. The cope is giving up on all these little things you're doing and smoking weed. Like, it's just loser mentality, dude. I'm glad that I could like see through the processes that my body was going through, and then like the way my brain was acting, and that's the thing that I am like thinking about. This Eastern stuff I've been thinking about me is something beyond like so many things, bro. Like the way that my brain felt, the way I was thinking, the way my body felt, the way I was acting, the things that I've been saying. Me, the observer, what I actually am, my eternal self, is the thing that realized, bro, you are not right now. What you were before this, what you've been doing leading up to this, you had a little hiccup. You had a little bit of a pinched nerve. It was annoying, but it wasn't a big deal, and it was bound to go away eventually. You're doing good, bro. Like, you're better. You're in better shape. You're smarter, you're stronger, you're more level-headed, you dealt with some shit, but you did pretty good. You're doing good, buddy. It's like what that guy said when I quit the boat. When I let him know I was quitting the boat. It's like, oh, man, this is fucking bullshit. All right, we got to go back. You were doing good, buddy. You're doing good, buddy. Whoever's watching this video, I see you. You're doing your planks. You're doing your cold showers. You're tying your nuts to a bag of quarters to make your ball sack longer, or whatever people do in the self-help community. Whatever people do in the self-help community, I guess you probably tied your dick, but you probably don't want to do that. I don't know. I'm not giving anybody advice. I'm just saying whatever eclectic self-help routine that you have put together, because let's face it, you're not a Chad who like had an amazing life and got married and had kids at 18 with like the woman of your dreams. You didn't get where you're going yet, little buddy, but you're doing good, and your freaking grandma aerobics, that's not cope, dude. That's something that's making you feel better, and that's guiding you to, who knows, man, you might get it all someday. Everybody here might make it. Like, you have no idea what life has in store for you. I know it seems like maybe there's, like, it's bleak, but the hope is the gift from God. The hope that you get from the prayers, the positivity that you feel from meditating, and from lighting your candle for Jesus in your altar and praying the rosary, the hope that that gives you is at least part of the gift from God, man. Because when I just threw it all out of the window with smoking weed again and just had this like loser mentality, it's like, this is all fucking stupid and everything's cope and everything other than sitting on this couch and being too lazy to flip to the next episode of X-Files is fucking cope. Loser. Like, I was becoming what I hated. The judgmental people. Some of the people who are on my case and judgmental. I hate that I have to be anti-weed, bro. But for me, not an option. Not an option, bro. And people who are like, oh, we're going to get Stoic smoking again. There's no reason. There's no reason. I've seen clearly that it harms me. And it makes me kind of sad to think that it was such a big part of my life for so long. And I really can't imagine that that was helping me. Like, when I lived in Boston, when I was trying to, like, change the world and make a living in a life playing drums, I probably didn't need to be wasting my money on weed, and I probably didn't need to be irritable. I know that shit was making me irritable, and I was young, and it's not positive. I'm like 80% sure that weed is just bad, bro. And there's some people out there, it's like, oh, I kind of think maybe I should quit weed. Well, let's just go watch random YouTube videos to see if somebody can, like, validate my bad decision. And somebody be like, dude, weed's fine, bro. Like, don't worry about it, bro. I'm going to be the opposite. So if you don't want to believe what I'm saying, you can go find somebody to validate what you want to hear. I think weed is bad. I think weed is bad. I think if you're spiritual, it's not good. Dude, I've even been watching this guy who's into, like, weird Satanist shit. Not for the wrong reasons, because, you know, I'm trying to study the enemy, but even he says weed's bad. Even the fucking Satanist guy says weed's bad. Like, I'm not like I'm trying to appeal to, like, people the opposite of me, but, dude, from all lines of spirituality, like, the good guys, the bad guys, everybody's like, dude, weed is fucking bad. Like, it opens you up to negative, demonic shit. And I feel like I experienced some of that, and it's like, bro, this is really fucking bad. Like, I'm making a mistake. I'm going backwards. And to think that I could get stuck there, to think it's like, oh, I'm sad, I need more weed, and I have to keep... No, dude, be better. Be fucking better. Like, you healed your nerve, back to the gym, back to your routine. You're going to be a little grumpy for a couple of days, but nah, dude, you were doing good. You were doing good. Everything was good, and don't lose sight, man. Don't lose sight, because what's scary is being a fucking loser. And I know, like, some people think I'm a loser. Some of you guys think you're losers. Sometimes I think I'm a loser. Sometimes I think all of us are just a bunch of fucking losers. That's not the point, dude. Like, you're still alive. You're doing good things. You've made good progress. It's not cope, dude. Sitting on a fucking couch, high, dazed, talking about how everything's cope, that's cope, bro. So, I felt inspired to record my thoughts on this as I move past it. Like, yeah, I didn't smoke anything today, and it really wasn't that big of a deal, and I'm honestly feeling like tomorrow is pretty much back to normal. Like, at the very tops, this weekend will be a little bit rough, but it was only 5 days, bro, and it will just, you know, I'll go back to the mean. I'll go back to the regular. The regular for the last year and a half has still been not smoking weed every day. So I'm very grateful for that. I do feel like I learned something out of all of this. And yeah, so I'm making a video, putting it on my channel. I am still going to make videos. I was high in my last video where I'm wearing sunglasses. That's why I was wearing sunglasses. Part of me wanted to never tell anybody because it would be a funny inside joke for me. And it's funny that I don't think anybody could tell. It's still a good video. Like, I mean what I said in that video, but I don't know. I'll just have to keep making videos, and we'll just keep hearing about what it is that I think about things. And I'm not scamming anybody with the Patreon. Yes, the Patreon is still there. If you want to see the videos that I made that are there, there's like 7 or 8 of them. Spend $6. You got access to all the videos. And then just, unsubscribe before the next month. Like, you can spend $6, see all my content. I'm not making any more, at least for now. I'm not shoving the Patreon down anybody's throat. I'm just letting people know. Somebody made a comment. It's like, oh, you didn't delete the Patreon. Well, no, I'm leaving the content that I already made up. You can access it for $6, but don't stay subscribed. Don't be under the impression that more content is coming. So that's it. Shouldn't be a big deal. A little bit frustrated, a little bit of a setback. My nerve is healed. Gym's going good. And I guess it's just a little moment to check in and say, hey, man, you're not where you're going yet, but you're actually doing pretty good. And don't go backwards, because it could be worse. Whatever you're dealing with right now, I feel like this applies to everybody. You're doing good. You've made a lot of improvements. You made a lot of progress. It is good. It's not cope. Keep doing the stuff. Keep adding stuff. Take a cold shower if you're not. I mean, I don't do that. I should start taking cold showers. Do the breathing exercises if you're not. Figure something out. Meditate if you're not. Pray if you're not. Do something that you're not doing. Add something to your routine. Keep adding these little things to your day. Just all this little self-help stuff that just makes you feel better. It's not cope. It's doing good. You're good. You're doing good. Don't go backwards. Don't make excuses to go backwards. Don't be like, oh, this is all just fucking cope. I'm just going to smoke weed because fuck everything. Don't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm sure as shit not going to do that. And let's fucking get it. Let's all go get 10 out of 10 waifus, baby. Or 7 out of 10 waifus with a really good personality. Honestly, girls, it's not all about looks. But you got to have an awesome ass. Awesome ass. Maybe all of your stats could be in your ass. God bless you, my friends. Have a good one.